Hello everyone. Today we are going to review Console API. So what it is? Developers can improve the application debugging process by using methods to print various messages on the browser console. For example, the console.log method helps us to print messages or data in the browser console. However, it's often overused since developers are unaware of other console methods. So today we will be talking about log, debug, info, warn, and error messages. Typically, console debug, console info, and console log are identical. The only difference is that debugging message are hidden by default, and log messages are visible in the recent version of Chrome. Well, in many versions of Chrome, definitely. So how can we see debug messages in Chrome? Well, this is very easy. You have to set the log level to verbose in DevTools actually. So here you can open your developer tools, and as you see, by default we have only info, warnings, and errors message visible. So if you want debug message to be visible, we should enable it here. So like selecting it, and as you can see right now, it says all levels are visible. So let's play a bit with different options of console. So to access any method, we should use console dot, and let's start with log. Yeah, so this is function, and of course it accepts some parameters. So we can just give some message to the world. Let's say hello, hello my app. Yeah, and enter. So it just prints hello my app. Well, nothing interesting, so we can add some extra flexibility here. So we can add some variables. Let's say it will be another string. And buy a car. Yeah. Okay, and you see it works as a concatenation of two strings. So what else we can do? Let's use this, but I want to put this message exactly in this position, so I can use percentage sign, and s means string data type, and once I execute this method, it just enters the second string in the middle of this first string. Yeah, and it works. So we have different options how we can format output in console log, and it's actually will be visible always, even if we remove verbose. So let's try to execute it again. Yeah, as you can see, it's still visible. Yeah, sometimes it's just too much of output, or you want to start the output with clear page, and then you can use another method which is called console.clear. Yep. It just clears everything. As you can see, there is a message console was cleared. Another option, if you are working just in this DevTools console, you can click on this clear console icon, and it will do the same. Okay, so that was log. Let's return back to console debug. Yeah, it also can accept some parameters. I'll just want to say something like debug started. And as you can see, no message, just nothing. So what to do? As I said, we need to enable verbose. And then I can simply re-enter this message. And as you can see, now it's visible. Okay, great. So we know how to make it visible now. Let's go with another method of console. This is console info. Hello from info. Yeah, technically they are the same messages and the same functionalities as console.log. Uh, I would actually advise you to use this console info just in debugging purposes to show some really needed information, like why we are doing this debugging, what we are trying to achieve with some messages we are trying to put here. So something like that. And now there is really something in console which makes a difference. So another method which is console.warn. Yeah, so it's mean warning. So the type of this message is a bit different than just informational message. It warns about some, let's say, edge case that happen during the debugging, or some special case that you want to warn to the user, and it's actually rendered differently. So let's see what happens. And yeah, it has this icon, warning icon. And another option is just more critical, for more critical messages, is console but not warn error. Here is my error. And again, same thing, but it's already yellow and it's more critical. So in case you want just maybe throw some errors from the application, it's really good option to use console errors. And again, using these filters, you can actually filter them by, let's say, just warning as errors, or just warnings, or just errors. Yeah, so that's actually it. You can use all these methods as you want, and additionally you can provide how critical these methods are. You can actually also prepare some special format of output. And what is important, it's not just for showing you strings. You can also show some variables, some different structures like arrays, objects, and some complex things. So let's try it one more time. And well, first of all, I want to create something, some variable. Let and 8 equal, let's say, some object with a name parameter, my name. Okay, and now I can just go and show this A in my console log. Okay, and as you can see, there is nothing. Why? Yeah, just because we turn off everything here, right? And we don't see regular messages. So right now you can see it outputted what I wanted to output. So it outputted objects. Same thing I can do actually with other types that I want to output. So that's technically it about login messages from console API. And we are trying to look into some other methods, useful methods that we can use. Let's see what else we have. So console, sorry, not capital. Yeah. So if we open it, we have assert, clear, count, count reset, dir, group, group collapsed, and other methods. So we are going to talk about most of them, if not all of them. So be with me and we will talk about them. Okay, let's talk about another method which is called assert. Yeah, assert. Well, the thing is that we probably want to clear our console. Yeah, so assert. Yeah, this method is different from the previous discussed methods. It will only print the message in the console if the expression is evaluated as false. Therefore, you need to pass a Boolean expression as a method parameter. Okay, so before using it, let's create variables. Let's create a and let it be 1. And let's create b and it will be, okay, let it be 3. Okay, so now we can use console assert. First parameter is of course our condition. So let's add a plus b and 4, and we will show some kind of message here. For example, expression is incorrect. Yeah, and of course we should have all levels just to see it. And let's see what's happening. Well, nothing. Yeah, because a plus b is actually 4. So to have this message shown, this assert shown, we should have this expression as incorrect. So let's try to write it differently. Just instead of 4, we put 3 here. So expression is false. And here we have this assertion expression, right? It says assertion failed, and we actually see some message here. Yeah, so nothing special. So very similar to error logging, but it actually logs only when the condition is false. So that's technically it about this console assert. Now let's move to count methods. Console count. Actually, you can see we have 2 count methods. One is count, another one is count reset. So we'll talk about both of them, but first we'll talk about count. Okay, so what is this count? Let's clear first. Okay, console count. We can use the console count method as a log counter. It logs the number of times the console count method has been called in the script. For example, if you use it inside a loop, you can find the number of times that loop is executed. For example, let's try it. Okay, simple for. Okay, 1. Let's say from maybe 10 times. And I plus plus. Okay. So count. No need for the console log, of course. And let's try to execute. Okay, yeah, so it actually shows the message 10 times because we executed this loop 10 times. Also, as you can see, there is default label. It's kind of default label if you do not provide your custom labels, but you definitely can provide a custom label just to group all these messages to some extent. Okay, let's do the same, but provide some label. My group. And as you can see, instead of default, they are being grouped by my group. Okay, so how to use these groups? Why do we need them? And if you can see, we had two options. First option was to count without group, and it shows just default. And another option was to use some custom group name, in this case just my group. And right now, if I do next console count, it will print 11. Yeah, because it remembers the last count for the group. So if I do console log my group, it will also show 11. Oh, not console log, sorry, console count. Yeah, 11. So each group has its own counter. I can again do it, and it will be 12, 13. I can then return back to count without providing group, and it will be 12 if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. So all these groups are really important if you want to count different parts of some internal logic and just use them separately, just to count different aspects of your algorithm based on some group name. So how to reset these group counts? And for this we have console count reset. So this is another option. Count, sorry. Yeah, when we do not provide any label for the group, it will actually reset default one. Let's check. So it will be just one right now. Yeah, again, it starts from the beginning. If you want to reset some group, of course, we need to count reset and reset the group we want, like my group. And now count my group, it also start from the beginning. So very interesting, very useful, but you just need to find the cases where you want to use it. Okay, that was interesting, but let's dive deeper. And we have more console methods. And I actually want to look into the group. So we have three group methods: group, group collapsed, and group end. So let's talk about group and group end. We can make a group of related log by surrounding them with console group and console group end statements. So the group created by console group is initially opened. If you'd prefer it to be collapsed by default, you can use console group collapse statement instead of console group. So that's how all these things are used. So let's try with console group first. And yeah, let's clean it as always. So let's start with some group. We can actually provide some label for this group, or title probably will be better, like my custom logs, I would say. And sorry, after that I can start console log. I can add something log 1. Yeah, not very creative. I can console log another log, like log 2. I can make it here, and I can console group end, sorry. Okay, yeah. My mistake was that I made it separately. That's why you don't see how it should look. So let's try to do it just in one, um, like in one statement. Console.group. Let's call it test, so it will be shorter. Then console.log mylog1. Then console.log mylog2. And let's close this group. Group and enter. Okay, now it works. So as you can see, we have test group and two log messages. We can actually collapse it or expand it if you wish. And the only difference for the group collapsed, if you use it, I can even show it to you. So we have this group, but I want to make it not just simple group, expanded group, but collapse it. Oops, sorry. Yeah, and as you can see, it just collapsed by default, but you can open it if you wish, or close. So it's really good if you want to group some different messages, not to overwhelm the page with different messages. So sorry, so that's it about console group, and let's see what else we have here. Okay, so we have console memory. Something new, right? You didn't even expect that we want to do something about memory in console API, but we actually can. Okay, so console memory. So what it is? Yeah, it's just showing some JavaScript heap sizes, use total, and limit. To be honest, this is already deprecated. I just showed it just so you know it can probably still exist in some Chromium-based browsers, but it's not supported anymore. And as far as I know, there is another experimental technology, which is called performance measure user agent specific memory, and it's not yet fully available to all browser, and as I said, it's still just experimental. So don't use it even if you see this object is available in your console API. So let's move next, and we have another method which is console.trace. Oh, sorry, not confirm, but console.trace. What it is? Yeah, it's just like a common regular console log, but what it does, it shows trace stack trace output. So in case you just want to output something where some error happens and you want to check where in code this actually happens, use console trace. It's really helpful. It provides you additional information. Yeah, unfortunately, right now I call this method from DevTools. That's why stack trace is almost empty. It just says it was from VM debugger. And that's it. But in real application, you will see a you can see actually a long list of your code's stack trace, and somehow it may help you to find some issues or find a way where they happen. So let's see what else we have. Okay, let's see what are these dir and dir XML. Okay, so let's clear it again and try to use console dir. So what it is, console dir is a static method that displays an interactive list of the properties of the specified JavaScript objects. So in other words, you can output the full list of fields that this object has. For example, I'm going to create anything new. I'm just trying to use or reuse some document objects like document location, for example. Yep. And let's see what it does. So it just has location, and when you expand it, it has all the properties that you want to have. Yeah. Another option is to do the same, is to use dir XML. To be honest, not much different. It just differently show it in console, but when you open it, expand it, you actually see the full list, same as you actually see above for the dir. Yeah, its second option is just more XML-like option, but if you cannot parse the document that you pass into dir XML, it actually parses it as a JavaScript object. Okay, what else you can do? You actually can even try history, just to check history. Okay. Location. Window history, sorry. Okay. Window history. Yeah, so if someone is really interested what it is, it can just explore. So any object you can just pass into this this method, and it will return it in a structured way, so you can easily see what methods it has and probably try to use them. And another option is actually a bit different, but also allows you just to look inside some objects. So this is console.table. Yeah, so if you want to have some object formatted in some way, document location, let's see how it looks in table. So again, it's the same list of all these methods and properties that this object has, but it structures like a table. So it's really nicer look. And by the way, using console.table, you can not only shows the object, but also some kind of arrays and some nested object, nested array, and it actually shows you all this information in very nice way. So let's create something new. Let array items, and let's create these items of some numbers. Okay, let's hit 5, 6. Nice. And now console.table, and I want to pass array items. Okay, and as you can see right now, I have this array here. It looks as in table, but also you can expand this array view and see all the values. So yeah, this is really nice, and you can use it instead of regular console logs. Okay, let's clean it again. And the last things I want to talk about console API is timer. So we have different methods like console.time, console and time log. Timestamp is actually not supported. It's experimental thing, so we will not be talking about this. Well, it's supported but experimental. So we will use time, time end, and time log. So the console time static method starts a timer that you can use to track how long an operation takes. To give each timer a unique name, and you also actually may have up to 10,000 timers running on a given page. When you call console time end with the same name, the browser will output the time in milliseconds that elapsed since the timer was started. So you can technically start timer, do some operations like heavy operations, some loop, whatever, and then add console time end, and it will calculate how much time it took to do all this heavy duty. Okay, so let's start with something pretty simple. So let's start with time. I just want to name it. I want to give it label. My time. Okay, after that I want to execute some for loop. Okay, let's say from 1 and to, let's say, million, or maybe 10 million. Okay, plus plus, just to increase it, of course. And what I want to do, just maybe some variable, let's call it a and plus I. Okay, and of course I need console time end. Okay, and let's try to execute it. Oh my god, I forgot to add label to the time end. So let's do it again. Label my time. Execute again. Okay, it says the timer already exists, and it actually says it it took me 16 seconds to execute this, but actually it's not true because it started when I started it first time. Then I just had to change my label for the time end, and that's why it calculated all the time that passed from the beginning to the end. So again, let's try it to do a more appropriate test. Let's say timer 2 and timer 2, and now we will see how much time it will take just to sum up all these 10 millions. Okay, so it's now more realistic. It's just less than half a second to do this. So right, so now we know exactly how long it takes to execute my function. And actually you can do the same in your code. So you can just wrap your heavy code with console time and console time end and execute it. So that's technically it about console API for today. Hope it was interesting for you and you got some new knowledge that you can use in your projects. Have a nice day and goodbye.